was a little
we've actually had
surprised.
a melt of some snow over the last couple of days. So I'm happy the temperatures are rising over here.
Yeah, I think the same thing. It's been like really, really cold here in Toronto, Canada, and I wasn't expecting snow. So when I was got up, I was going to the gym, and then I realized, okay, let me get a little workout with a shovel in the snow, and then off I
Yeah,
went.
fantastic. Nice to officially meet you.
Yes, yes. It's good to always bring people on to discuss a range of topics. Like I know, for example, today we're going to be talking about divorce, your experiences, maybe personally and professionally, and some of the things that I think we go through when a relationship unfortunately comes to an end. So for you, what's one thing what's sorry, not even one thing, what's a few things that you notice about yourself when your relationship was ending?
Hmm. It's a great question, and we could be here just for an hour just on that particular question. I will put it into some context here. So, I became religious, quite religious at age 18, Orthodox Jewish, and we don't, at that age, I was quite, quite young. So, my first dating experience in Orthodox Judaism, you date in order to marry. You don't date for fun. So it's a very focused, you wait till you're ready to get married, and then you're dating very intentionally. You're trying to figure out, is this the kind of person I want to be with for the rest of my life? And it's a little bit like a combination of dating and like a business merger, if you will, because you're really asking the hard questions early on, before you're getting too enmeshed, before you're getting too emotionally connected, because you don't want to necessarily connect to someone that you're not going to be spending the rest of your life with. So because of that, essentially, my first love was my wife. I had never gone through love and loss, which is often, a rite of passage, if you will, through people's youth. And, the experience of heartbreak, where you think that this is the one, and then you lose that person. That's actually an interesting kind of learning curve that you can understand. Oh, wow. So, I can feel this big emotion, love, and I can also feel this really negative or challenging emotion of loss, grief. And I never experienced that. So going through my divorce, it was quite like an unexpected, heartbreak at age 40, 41. The first time in my life having heartbreak. And so that was really an unexpected emotion, an unexpected occurrence. I didn't see it. It was definitely not on the horizon for me through, I was married for 16 years. So I didn't see it as a potential outcome. And then it was kind of a sudden. And you don't realize how deep that pain is. You don't realize how, like, it's a physical pain in your heart, totally unexpected. As that kind of left me quite surprised, quite a puddle, on the floor, if you will. The cliched, crying in the bathroom floor that you hear from some of the songs. It really does really leave you, absolutely hammered. And so that was a really unexpected a part of the journey. I mean, looking back at it now, it's like, well, what did you expect? There was be roses, but that was something that at the time just really struck me hard and fast and was really, really challenging to get through.
I think sometimes people forget how painful a breakup is because maybe there's so many different types of emotions that's going on. Like, so for example, when a relationship is ending, marriage or a long-term relationship, there's usually like you're losing love for this person. So when things are really good, your feelings are very strong in a positive or maybe constructive way, right? Because I don't want sometimes like to use like, oh, it's negative and things like that, where you're learning from your emotions and they're very strong. Like, I really love this person. I really care about this person. And then let's say, for example, towards an end of the relationship, when you realize that it's coming to an end, sometimes those emotions get replaced with something else. So people get more upset, they get more irritated, more anxiety, more depression, more frustration. So it's emotions that can lead to not so beneficial behavior. So when it finally ends, all they can remember is that last couple months,
Mm.
but they don't remember the 10 years, the 12 years where it was really good. Do you see that in yourself as well as maybe some of the people that you worked with?
what I find an interesting pattern within men going through this recently, some of my clients, where they are not necessarily the ones choosing the divorce. And they're having this conflict of intense emotions where on one hand, they still have a lot of love left for their, ex. And on the other hand, they're having all this pain that's coming really from the decisions of their ex towards them, this rejection, this abandonment. And so they have this like weird concoction going on inside them that leaves them exceptionally confused. Because on one hand, they have these positive feelings still, they have this love that's like wants to connect. And then this other hand, they've got all this pain that they're experiencing from this person who they want to connect to. And so it's this really interesting quagmire of emotions that leaves them thoroughly confused and thinking that like, am I crazy? Like, am I going crazy here? Like, how can I feel these opposite emotions at the same time? And I think that it's something we're not necessarily well versed in. That yeah, as a human being, we're really complicated. And we have the ability to have opposite emotions going at the same time. And we're not crazy, and it's nothing unusual. It's quite a regular, the idea of a bittersweet emotion. Bittersweet means that like there's sweetness here, but there's also bitter, right? At the same time, happening at the same time. And so re being able to feel both those things independently and say, hey, I'm allowed to feel this. I'm allowed to feel that. It makes sense. And I'm gonna move on eventually. But right now I'm allowed to feel all those feelings. Having permission to allow ourselves that compassion to feel what we feel. It's something that sounds so obvious when you hear it, but we don't often allow ourselves to feel our own feelings. We kind of, no, I shouldn't be feeling that. No, I don't want to feel that. That's too hard to feel, whatever it may be. But just making space for those emotions. That's a big part of the work that I do, is allowing people to have space inside of themselves just to allow their emotions to exist.
Why do you think then some men struggle with that peace?
Which piece particular, letting go of the person that they used to love?
Yeah, letting go of the person they used to love, and well, I'll give you well both. Let's say, for example, letting go of the person they used to love and maybe moving forward after these mixed emotions that maybe they're experiencing two different sets at the same time.
Yeah, why do men have a hard time? I think there's a couple of points here. Uh, One of the things I see most common with men is they think like, if only I could be a better person. Like this is the thought process. If only I could act better or perform better or do something better, they'll want me back. Like that's a story that goes on in a lot of men's brains, that they've been programmed from the youngest age that their good behavior, so to speak, will fix all problems. Right? Oh, you're such a good boy, right? Oh, oh, don't be bad boy, right? Whatever it may be, that paradigm says, oh, I can change people's opinion of me if I just do better. It's a really unhealthy headspace. It's been, you know, trained into us from a young age, but it leaves them thinking, oh, you know why she's leaving me? Because I didn't make enough money, or because I wasn't, uh, you know, uh, big enough or buff enough, or whatever, you fill in the blank of what you think it is. And that's often not the case. That's not like there's not like if only I would have done this, it would have been better. Often once it's got to this point, especially with a long-term relationship, there's many, many things that have gone off that are just it's not there. There's nothing you can do to change that. And allowing yourself to realize, oh, this is lost. This is a loss now. I can't get this back. I want to get it back, but I can't get it back. Once you accept that reality, then you've got the ability to let go. Until you accept reality for what it is, you're still trying to change reality. And so you're like, well, if only I can do this, and then I can still get her back. No, it's over. You have to accept that it's over. There's not going to be one of these parent trap movies where, the daughters, meet and make you have spend time together in an elevator and everything happens nice. No, it's over. Once you've gotten to the point, obviously, before you've gotten to the point where a decision has been made, then yeah, sure, there's what to talk about, you know? But once a decision has been made, the divorce is happening. Now it's like, okay, you need to accept this, feel whatever it is you're feeling right now, grieve, be sad, like allow yourself to be really, really sad, and then you can move on, let go of all those attachments.
Could it be that because I'm going to take it from like my perspective, like when my relationships ended,
Hmm.
I would proactively and actively for a while find reasons why it happened. Like it was like basically like me sitting in a corner after like a math test, right? And I'm like, okay, I could have did this better. It was actually answer C, not answer A. You know, that multiple choice. How can I miss the multiple choice? Like I'm finding reasons to why it ended.
Hmm.
Do you think then a lot of men spend a lot of time doing that in an effort to justify what has happened? As you mentioned, I didn't make enough money. I wasn't tall enough. I wasn't big enough. I wasn't better in the bedroom.
Hmm. Totally. We want to make a story fit in our brain. We need to have some kind of narrative that will explain it away to ourselves. Because like we thought we played by the rules and we thought like that we did everything we were meant to do. And now that it didn't work out the way we anticipated, we have to figure out like how can I make the right story of this so that going forward I don't screw this up again. Because that's often what we're thinking, like how do we avoid all this pain next time? And so you're trying to make it fit into some kind of narrative. And that's totally understandable. And probably eventually you will have some kind of way of summarizing it really succinctly. You know what? Blank, right? Aside from the fact that humans are really, really complicated, and there isn't, you probably couldn't fit it into one sentence why it all went wrong, right? But you'll do your best to do that in the end. And it's in order to make yourself have a better, you don't want to go crazy. You don't, yeah, there's a phenomenon where we feel like if we can't explain it away, and like, I don't know what happened. What's going on here? So if you can come up with an easy to tell story, it makes it a lot more digestible for your emotional well-being. It's actually it's a healthy thing to do. It just recognize that it might not be too accurate to come to a kind of some conclusion. You know what? It wasn't meant to be between with this person. For whatever reason, our values weren't lined up, or you know what? I wasn't as good. I wasn't as good a money maker for the family. It wasn't as consistent as I wanted to be. Okay, it's something I'm going to improve for the forward. Because as men, we always want to improve. We want to get better. We want to. I think it's underrated how much men care about improving. It's such a major drive in us to like we're focused on a goal. Like how do I get there? How do I get better? How do I improve for next time, for next time? And so making a story out of it allows us to see where we were off so that we can change ourselves going forward.
I see that as well. Like if I give like a woman's perspective, because most of the people I work with are women, they will say that when the relationship ended, they would admit, at least to me anyways, that there's things that they could have done better, but there's things that they expected
Hmm.
from the men that they were with. And unfortunately, in their from their perspective, they were dating based off of potential. By potential, I mean that they had someone that was in their life. They started dating, it got serious, and they're like, okay, I believe that he can be this type of person that I'm going to live the rest of my life with in the next 5 to 10 years.
Hmm.
5 to 10 years later, what happens? They don't fulfill that potential.
Hmm.
And I guess my question to you then is, when it comes to things not being fulfilled in the relationship, if there isn't the healthy and proper communication and expectations are placed without the other person knowing, who should be held accountable for that then? The person who's placing the expectation or the person who has no idea of this expectation and the other person just hoping and dreaming that they're going to fulfill it?
Hmm. Yeah, we all have an unwritten playbook or rule book that we don't even realize we're bringing into the relationship. We have all these unstated rules or expectations that we come in with. And then we expect the other person to read our mind to figure out what those rules are. It's a very, very unhealthy way of navigating to making the implicit explicit. In other words, what isn't spoken out, we need to speak out. That's like the path of growth for the couple. And it's guaranteed that both of you are coming in here with stuff that you're not saying. The man is and the woman is. And the mature way to go forward is say, I recognize that you can't, it's impossible for you to read my mind and it's impossible for me to read your mind. So we're going to have to share with each other. We're going to say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm headed. This is what I want out of the relationship. And if we can't do that, we're essentially being little kids, right? Little kids like have all this stuff going on in their head. They feel like mom should understand or dad should understand without me having to tell them. And that's an understandable scenario because they're a child. They don't know how to speak out to what's going on in their brain. And as a parent comes along and say, "Hey, honey, looks like something's bothering you. Well, like what were you thinking was going to happen?" And like helping them get it out of them. But as an adult, you're responsible for your needs. You're responsible for what you want. And to be able to articulate that is not a negative thing. It's actually a really positive, responsible thing. Hey, this is what I need in this relationship. If you can't be there, that's okay, but this is what I need. And being aware of those needs and not having this as some hidden playbook where like you're like, well, he better start making some money sooner or else I'm gonna have to kick him to the curb. Like that's not helpful.